Welcome everyone. It's great to see so many people here today. So we're back. This is our first SuperWomen in Tech webinar in 2024. So this is a community focused on creating awareness and opportunities to underrepresented tech talent by addressing topics and challenges within the industry. This particular session will be for junior tech workers interested in strategies for entering the industry, but also for hiring managers wanting to attract the best junior talent through inclusive hiring practices. The community is supported by Source Group International, international recruitment specialists. We discover technology talent for forward-thinking organizations. So if there's anyone on the session today looking for advice on their next role or hiring challenges, drop us a note in the chat box. So my name is Dewi. I am a senior recruiter within the Benelux team for Source Technology. I personally mainly focus on data and software engineering. And just to take you through just a couple of pieces of housekeeping before I hand over to a lovely guest speakers. So there will be a Q&A session at the end of the main questions. But if you have any questions before, please drop it into the Q&A box and we'll get to it towards the end of the webinar. The event is recorded and the full recording will be available after the webinar that will be shared with you. And full details on how to sign up to our next event will also be available at the end of the event. And we'll take you through that a bit more. So I'd like to hand over obviously to our guest speakers now. So if you can share just a brief overview of your own journey into the tech industry and what inspired you to pursue a career in technology. Susana, do you want to start?
Yeah, why not? Well, thank you, Dewi, and thank you everyone for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here today. Well, my name is Susana Sanchez. I'm originally from Colombia and I live currently in Germany. Yeah, I studied physics, so I went into science. I was always interested in maths and science. I ended up by coincidence in tech in an IT department. I learned about this thing called databases, and that's where it started. I've been working in data for more than 15 years already. So I've been analyst, database administrator, team lead. So I've been doing different roles. Yeah, and I've worked in different industries. I'm very happy to be working with people, to be working on this topic, and it's super interesting because it's always evolving and it keeps me fresh and active. So yeah, that's about me. And I'm currently leading a data team at an insurance company in Germany.
Okay, great. Lovely to hear kind of that journey through all the different roles. And Sena, for you.
Yes, of course. And first of all, thank you for having me. And it's really a pleasure to be here. So I'm Sena. I'm originally from Turkey and I'm living in the Netherlands right now. And my journey into the tech world started from very far away. I studied sociology during my bachelor's and I always was interested in cultural studies. And then that led to getting more interested in digital culture, and from there I started to gain knowledge and awareness of data and algorithms and how they work. And I was actually searching for a specialization in sociology for pursuing academy, and then that led to studying data science for my master's. And from there I really liked implementations and I really felt like I really enjoyed coding and like being in the practical skills. So therefore I decided to be in the tech industry and started my first job as a junior data expert.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great to hear as well, coming from a completely different angle, and that kind of led you to where you are now. That's really interesting. Great. Okay, so for the session today, we've kind of divided into two different parts. So we will first focus on getting into tech, networking and building connections. So obviously I've got a couple of questions that I would like to ask. Some are just for one of you, others are for both, but obviously please, feel free to give any extra information if you feel like you want to. So firstly, Sena, to yourself. So how important do you think is a formal education in tech? Obviously coming from not necessarily tech. And are there alternative paths like self-learning or boot camps?
Yeah, for sure there are alternative paths. First of all, formal education is really important if you want to pursue an academy or research, in my point of view. And also, formal education is like in formal education, knowledge is something is given to you. It's more structured. You have the roadmap and everything. Whereas in self-learning, you have to mine the knowledge by yourself, which requires a lot of motivation and self-discipline. And also, formal education gives you the noble way of getting accreditation for your skills by giving you the diploma. But however, nowadays I feel like finding good boot camps and having certifications, and also having a portfolio from GitHub or Stack Overflow or Kaggle does the job. Also, we know that lots of recruiters, even though you have a diploma, they want you to fill a skill assessment to be sure that you are eligible for that role. So if you already kind of choose your path in the tech world, like already choose what you want to do, therefore finding the boot camps and online courses about it will also boost your CV and make you stand out. And also, as an immigrant, having formal education made my way into Europe more easier than choosing the self-learning path because of the visa situations and everything. But I also have some friends in the industry that chose to stay in their country and get some industry experience in there, and then afterwards made their way into Europe. Another thing is that, I believe that self-learning path is actually more faster than having a formal education, and it also gives you the ability to tailor what you need and to go to learn at your own pace. But however, one of the biggest advantage of having a formal education is the social aspect of it. So you're basically surrounded by people who has the same pain as you. Therefore, you don't feel alone. So I would advise, if you would like to choose a self-learning path, at least try to find some online communities or some organizations that do meetups or gather-ins in your city, so that you wouldn't feel alone in this path, because starting everything from scratch could be so overwhelming. But
yes, definitely.
And I believe that like the importance of formal education are not that much related with tech. So it's overall the benefits of having a formal education is valid in tech as well, but also we all know that the tech world goes around with industry more than universities. So
yeah, very true. No, that's very true. Good insights there, and some good advice as well for those going into that. And then again, with so many specializations in tech, so how can individuals determine the right path for them? So how did you do that, and what would your advice be?
Well, my first and foremost advice would be, please don't be afraid of choosing the wrong path, because with so many specialization and branches, so many things to do, if you would learn what you don't want, and that is a big asset already. So that's also what we are going through in our 20s in the end. So it's a very valuable insight. And second advice I would like to give would be, maybe try to make use of your past or your hobbies. because people think that data science is a standalone subject and you only do maths about it, but actually it's valid in many in many industries and many parts of life. So let's say if you have some experience in HR and if you want to go to IT department or like in the tech industry, maybe learn data science on top of that, and then became a people analytic specialist, and you will have more added value than me, for instance, as a person who only has data science. Or if you want to be in the tech world just to change your path, if you don't like what you did in the past, then I would advise you to go by with your hobbies. Let's say you are into design, maybe try front end first, then back end, so that you will get some familiarity and also most important, some passion about it. So then you wouldn't be alone with the maths or like the implementations, but you would kind of do something that you are familiar with it. Or let's say if you are from law or you have a law background, then maybe choose data governance. So something like try to find something related with what you're already familiar with. And the last thing, not last, but like one before last, try to keep yourself motivated. Seek for solidarity. Know that you're not alone in this journey. There are many people who are going through probably the same thing as you. And also, when I first started in the tech world, what amazed me was like how fast and how helpful were people in online, especially whenever I ask some questions. I always found someone online who's willing to help with me or answer my question or try to solve my problem together. So don't isolate yourself in this path. And lastly, listen to other people's experiences, especially if you are in the way of figuring out your path. So try to get some experience with other people and what did they go through. Would it be, and if you would be fine going through the same thing as they are. Therefore, yeah, that would be my advice.
Yes, no, very good advice. Now, especially like you said, don't be afraid to choose the wrong path, because then that will help you into guiding you into the right path. So
yeah,
definitely.
also like in the meantime, when you recognize, before you recognize that you're in the wrong path, you probably already get some practical skills and some coding skills, which is also very, very important. It's going to give you the flexibility of change to the right path. So
definitely, yeah, fully agree. No, definitely. And then for both of you, so how important would you say is networking in the tech industry, and what are some effective ways to build professional connections? Shall I go to you first, Susana?
Yeah, it's very important. So
Yeah.
I would say that it's important in many senses. So in terms of when, as Sena was saying, so you to build a career, you need to be learning, right? So you need to build the skills all the time. Things are changing, so you need to keep up to date with everything that is going on, right? So there are new technologies, new methodologies, and you can always combine everything that you've been learning. So network helps you in that sense, in the sense of staying up to date with what's going on. So your networks or platforms like LinkedIn, for example, where people are posting. So you need to keep up to date. So networking gives you that information. You get this input of what's going on in the practical world. So it's not theory. So you know what other companies are doing, what your colleagues are promoting, what technologies are sticking. A lot of technologies come and go. So some things, everybody's hyped about it, and the next day something better comes. So you need to stay in contact with your network to stay up to date, and also for career opportunities. So getting the right lead in the right moment can be very beneficial for your career. So knowing, you know what, we are looking for this profile, and very often profiles are quite flexible. So you are there is a new position, new positions are also appearing every day. So then companies sometimes are flexible, like what are they looking for? So if you are in contact with people, letting them know I'm interested, or if you are finding somebody, then also spreading the word. It's also important for both for you in moving up in your career or evolving or changing, and also for finding the right people to join you. So yeah. Definitely.
Perfect. Yeah, great advice. Thank you. Sena, do you have anything to add, or do you do it differently?
Actually, I don't have that much experience in networking in professional area. Like only networking I received was from formal education from my university. For my, I seen and heard lots of my classmates are ended up in the same company, referred each other. But I also believe that also networking is very important, like every industry, because it creates the familiarity about who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, no, very interesting. And yeah, as Susana said, networking as well. Obviously, me as a recruiter, networking is everything. But that's in every industry and every job, definitely. And Susana, for yourself, do you know, for you, are there any specific online communities, events, platforms that can help someone in tech build their network? Any in particular?
Well, I mean, for me and my experience, at least what works in Germany and Spain and around here, it's LinkedIn is like one of my main sources for networking. So people are sharing all kinds of content. Also, it's easy to stay in touch with your colleagues. That's something that I also do a lot. I stay in touch with my colleagues. Sometimes we have the occasional call to see what's going on, what have you been working on. So LinkedIn is definitely a great resource from my point of view. Meetup as well. It's a great platform. Yeah, there's all kind of content in there. So events, and it's very cool that today we can do it online. So it's even easier to do it. Yeah, tech conferences, of course, and also a lot of conferences are giving you the online option. So, or companies sponsor you, or the online option is free in many cases. So, attending tech conferences is also good. Talking to people, exchanging, what are you doing? What do you work on? Where do you work? This is my contact. So, daring to reach out to people in these kind of events. I mean, we are all doing the same thing. We are all networking. So going to events, it's everything is out there. It's for us to search for it.
Yeah, definitely. And if anyone's watching, by the way, now and knows any particular good platforms or any communities that they know, pop them in the chat just to help each other out. Maybe if someone's not a member yet, they can join. And Sena, obviously for yourself, what advice would you give to someone just starting their journey in the tech industry? What would you say? Should they avoid? What should they do?
Well, first of all, they should build a strong foundation in programming languages and the fundamental concepts, but especially the programming languages, because that is going to be your main asset and main skill, and that is going to be something that you're gonna deal with every day. So more knowledge you have in it, more also confident you will be for yourself. And second of all, when choosing your career path, like choose it according to your needs and especially your characters. Because after I graduated from data science, I felt like I had two different paths that I can take. One was starting in startup, and the other one was starting in like a formal company. And of course, after I graduated, I didn't felt that I was industry ready, and I didn't felt like I had enough practical skills to be able to like pick up a job right away. Starting in startup was difficult path, but I gained so much skills, but not only also the technical skills, but also like customer relations and everything. And in the formal company, they hire you for a role. They hire you as a DevOps specialist or cloud assistant, blah, blah. And it means that you're most likely going to perform that role for a longer time. And you're gonna be only specialized in one thing. Whereas in startup, you have the ability to gain knowledge, like diverse skills from the end of the project and until the from the start of the project until the end of the project. And also in startup, you can see your contribution into project by really directly. Whereas in formal company, you are kind of either working in a small detail, or you might have feel like I never worked in a formal company, but that's what I felt like. That's what I thought I would feel like. Maybe you will feel like just you're a number. And last but not least, and maybe more important, is that if you're in your beginning of a journey as a woman or a woman plus or an immigrant or any kind of disadvantaged or minority groups, please don't hesitate your voice to be heard. We are in the industry who has been founded and leading by white males. Remember that your unique perspective is going to be an important asset for the industry and for the company, and it's very much needed. So that will be my advice to give.
Yeah, very good advice. Thank you. Susana, do you have anything to add there, or what would you advise someone that's just coming into your world?
Feedback, also asking for feedback, it's also, I think, important. It's helpful. Be open to it and ask for it from your colleagues, from your manager. You would be surprised of how much you can learn. And so I think at any stage it's very helpful to ask how, and that can help you so much to change things, or also to know what you're doing very well, because sometimes you don't see it. So asking for feedback, giving feedback as well. Don't be afraid to ask. So and also to propose, as you were saying, Sena. So like your perspective is fresh and it's important as well. So.
Feedback is a great advice. Yeah, I would go and listen.
Definitely. Great. That's perfect. So let's go on to kind of the second section. So we're focusing a little bit more on future trends and hiring as well. So Susana, for yourself, so in your experience, what strategies have been effective in promoting diversity and inclusion in tech hiring for yourself?
Well, I can say that I've been very lucky, I think. So I've had the pleasure to work in very diverse teams, and I'm very happy about it. Because I see over time I see the teams more diverse in many senses, right? So and companies more open to it and trying to promote it more. And what I've seen that works a lot. Well, you need to be first committed to it. So as a company, you need the commitment, the buy-in. Yeah, we have this in mind. So if you don't have it in mind, then it's easy to fill tech roles with the same profiles, right? So if you want to promote diversity, you need the buy-in, the commitment, and there are different strategies. So for example, the hiring process, so that you are aware, so that you have it very clear and very standardized, and you check if you have biases at some point. So if you have different perspectives during the hiring process, that you are aware of what are the characteristics you are looking for and that are neutral to any group. So that you are not looking for characteristics that are only in one specific group of people, right? So, but it's really important for the role, and that you that you are aware of your biases. So doing training in bias is also super helpful, and it's something that we all have, and we are not aware of it until somebody points that out to us, like what are possible biases. You tend to connect more with people who are like you. Then be aware of that, and then you actively can change it, and for everybody involved in the hiring process. So having the commitment and trying to minimize the biases, and design a process that it's favorable to diversity. So yeah, I think that I've had great recruiting teams working with me, and it's worked. It has worked a lot. Also, doing active sourcing, very aware also of what kind of role are you missing. So if you have a team full of seniors, then and you want some more junior people, because that's also diversity, right? Like diversity of skills and or gender or whatever. It's the direction you want to go. Be doing it consciously and in a yeah, that you made the decision as a company and go for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And how can you as a hiring manager, other hiring managers then ensure that it is a fair and unbiased recruitment process? Is there any specific things that can be put in place?
Yeah. So something that helps a lot is having a very structured interview process. So like, you know, what are the questions? Obviously, in an interview, you also follow the flow, right? So you do follow-up questions, but having a set of questions that you can compare, so having a very structured interview script or a guiding questions that you know will give you the answers you want, and that you will not fall into some of the biases you have. Like, yeah, you get just chatting with somebody and this person, I like this person. No, you need to have objective answers and very concrete questions. Also include different kind of people in the process. So include diverse points of view. So I've had processes where somebody said points a characteristic of a candidate, and the others were not aware of that. So like, no, this person was very pushy towards me because, I don't know, because of gender or whatever. So having these opinions, what you would have in your real work environment. So that's very important. Also having briefings. I've also had cases where from technical point of view, everything is great. And then when we do the briefing and somebody, so like discussing afterwards as a group, then sometimes these things emerge when you have this conversation with all the people involved in the process. That also helps a lot. I've seen that helps in that direction. I think, and training people, training everybody. So continuously, do this continuously. It's not a one-time thing. You need to have it in your process in your company.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely good advice. Because it's a difficult one, because unconscious bias, it happens and we all do it. We can't say that no one does it, because we all do it. It's unconscious, right? So but yeah, it's important to be aware of it. For both of you, are there initiatives, organizations focused on promoting diversity in tech that you would recommend, Susana?
I mean, I follow several communities, like also to promote, like to encourage each other. For example, women tech's a very good one. I like them. So they have this mentorship program where you can be a mentor or a mentee. I really like that one. And specific communities like PyLadies, for example, for Python coders, or there are platforms as well in other countries, but that I know of, like Girls Who Code or Women Who Code. Also, for sure, you can find some good resources there. I've been also approached by recruiting agencies who specialize in this in diverse hiring. So there are definitely also recruiting agencies focused on that. And your company, and hopefully all companies are also having this focus or this awareness.
Yeah, definitely. For yourself, Sena, have you got any in particular?
Women Who Code, I also follow it, and I really like what they do. Also, they help for resume building as well, which is, I think, very good help in that sense. And also there is another one called Out in Tech, which they do monthly gather-ups in Amsterdam, and also I think in the UK as well. They also are helping people into their career paths and also sharing their experience as well. So I think that's a really good one for face-to-face networking.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And if there's anyone again watching now, share any others that you might know in the chat so we can all see them. But yeah, women who code, I've seen that quite a lot. Pie lady sounds like a good one as well. That obviously there's many more. So any that anyone can share them. That's great. And then Susana, again for yourself. So how can hiring managers, would you say, proactively engage with diverse communities to attract a broad range of candidates?
Attend the events, promote events, offer a sponsorship for these kind of events. Send people to present. So really being active and having visibility in those events. So yeah, like joining events actively, making your company visible, and also share the initiatives you have, because I'm pretty sure a lot of companies don't have great initiatives to share. So also just not just say it, but walk the talk. It's how it states.
Yeah.
Also show what you are really doing to promote diversity. Show facts and projects. So
Yeah, that's definitely important, I would say.
Yeah, and another thing also that I think helps is, but also for us as a minority group, or in tech especially, also promote these initiatives within your company. Also, I think inside the same company, it can also be very powerful to create these communities, because when you put all these heads together, great things come out. So also that's something that we can do at our own companies and in smaller circles, to start talking about what do we need, what do we want to do, what do we want to show up. So also from inside the companies, I think that's also another way to promote, and eventually that will go out, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, a company, you do have to, join the initiatives or create the initiatives, because you can't just sit in your chair and wait for the applications to come in and expect for there to be diversity. Maybe naturally you have to go out and create it as well, I think, definitely. What do you see as the upcoming trends or hot topics in the tech industry? And how do you think individuals can prepare for them? If I go to you first, maybe Sena.
Well, I think one topic that we are all following is generative AI, right? ChatGPT, LLMs. It was about time that we had a breakthrough. I think we all need to keep an eye on it, keep up to date. Also, a lot of things will emerge. Not all of them will survive. So, but definitely generative AI applications to all domains. But I work in data. I'm a data person, and I think there's a lot of potential there. We are still doing a lot of things in a very artisanal way or very manual. So we have lots of volumes of data and integrations. So every time pipelines and ecosystems are much more complex, and we need to start to start automating even more. And I think that these kind of technologies will allow us to really scale that up. And then in that sense, then I think we need to keep up with the skills, right? Because and I've seen that also in my career a lot, that a lot of things are used and then they are gone. So I used to be database administrator, for example. That's no longer needed because you have these self-hosted cloud solutions where this role is not needed anymore, but then you learn something new. Then I started into analytics, into data science. Now data science, at the beginning I was doing the models from scratch. Now that's all out of the shelf. Then you need to see what's next, right? So how to measure properly, how to scale it up. Then we have MLOps, and now with data and analytics, I think generative AI, it's something to definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and continuation of many trends like the modern data stack. So I think that a lot of these technologies are evolving and will stay.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have anything to add there, Sena, or AI similar?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Language models maybe, but yeah, also
Yeah.
generative AI.
Yeah. Yeah. But as you said, that always that interests me because obviously I recruit in the tech industry. I don't come from the tech industry. But yeah, even for me, having done this for now the last 2.5, almost 3 years, there's new tools, new things constantly coming. And yeah, for you all as professionals within the industry, that must be just a continuous up, skill sets that you have to keep up with, etc. But it's very interesting, obviously, and exciting. And then Sena, for yourself, so how do you think someone can align their career path with these emerging technologies and trends as best they can?
Yeah, first of all, I think you have to accept the continuous learning, as Susana said. So there's gonna be always there's gonna be the learning is going to be endless.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, like try to make yourself stay curious. Try to follow the tech blogs. I really like Wired. Follow the news and the online courses, and just find whatever attracts your interest, and then maybe gain some industrial application awarenesses about it. Then maybe start to get some certification for it. For my experience, I mostly align with the new trends because of my work. I'm not just saying this because my bosses are here in the chat. Hi. But working in the startup game gives me this flexibility and ability to suggest within a project that which algorithm that we use or which model or which approach. So therefore, whatever I'm curious of, I have to I have the ability to integrate in my working life, which also saves so much from my personal time, because nobody wants to code after you code for 8 hours a day. Therefore, I think that's the privilege of me, how I can still keep up to date with the emerging new technologies, thanks to my work.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's not because the bosses are watching. No, probably.
Actually, seriously not. Seriously not.
No. Perfect. Did you have anything to add there, Susana, or do you agree with kind of what Sena said?
Yeah, reading. So another resource I like a lot is Medium as well. So great posts. That's also like my reading a lot of articles. So yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes the challenge is that there are so many things that then it's difficult, right, to fish so you cannot do it all. It's impossible. So yeah, but try and I learn read quickly, and yeah, it's not easy to discern, but yeah, try. And as Sena was saying at the beginning, it's even if it's something that you don't end up using, you learned a bit from everything you read and consume. So yeah. Also chatting with your friends, that's also something that it's been super helpful for me, like talking to ex-colleagues. They moved to other companies and really, what did you do? What are you doing? What failed? What you like or not? That also is a great way to get summaries. And
definitely. Okay, great. So again, to you both, we've kind of discussed it a tiny little bit, but are there emerging technologies or areas within tech that you would recommend keeping an eye on at the moment that you can see? Susana, shall I come to you first?
Well, I think that I briefly mentioned. So generative AI is one topic. There is another area also that it's becoming more important for all of us, and it's data privacy and security, so that we are more aware, right, of that now. Like, what's going on with my data, and the regulations are more strict. So that's also sometimes it's like legislation. So it's not that as exciting to everyone, but that's something also that we need to be prepared for, because we are being more aware of what's out there. And I mean, it's still a lot of stuff out there, but yeah, some traditional things we were doing are no longer valid. And yeah, keeping up to date with that, with regulations and how are we going to adapt to that? Yeah, I think that's what comes to mind.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And Sena, for yourself, anything to add there?
I find like the new technologies emerging in medicine very interesting and kind of, yeah, especially the personalized medicines and personalized treatments. And yeah, gene coding and everything. It sounds like we are out of sci-fi movie, but we already passed that point. And also deep fakes, I think, are coming very much strongly with the generative AIs. And so I think the news industry is going to completely change with that. But yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good for anyone to look out for and anyone coming in as well. So I'm going to jump to, there's a question in the Q&A box here. If anyone else has any questions they want to ask, please pop them in the Q&A box and we can go through them. So Susana, I would think this probably suits your area of expertise maybe best. So speaking of Gen AI and AI in general, what's your opinion about the amazing role diverse hires and roles can play when it comes to getting the best out of these technologies?
So what's
Say that again?
yeah, I'm reading it. So
oh, okay, perfect. Yes.
what's the opinion about the diverse hires and roles? Well, having fresh points of view, and also I think that a lot of roles are not yet existent. So, and we see it today. I'm hiring for positions that did not exist 1-2 years ago. So I think that having this flexible mindset and people from different backgrounds, for example, yeah, going from sociology, right, and into tech, like you, Sena. So I think that, and also I've seen a lot of people who come from science or different kind of backgrounds that always adds to your perspective and your way to address problems. So yeah, having people with different backgrounds definitely can help you there. Yeah, different seniorities and in general, I think diversity just makes teams much more, I don't know how to say, like effective. There is more harmony. There is more learning. So because people challenge each other, you have different opinions. You learn how to listen to others who think different to you. So, and that's what we need here because it's not written. So we need to figure out what's happening next. So.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. And we've got another question in here. I will throw it to both of you. What are the main 3 tips for women leaders in tech? Well, Susana might be potentially for yourself being in a leading position.
Well, yeah. For women leaders in tech, then it's one thing that it's sometimes tricky. It's how to be heard without being loud. So definitely working on your confidence and your public speaking in your argumentation. So that's very important because it's traditionally when in this sector it was about who is the loudest, and but if you know how to present your idea in a very concise and a clean way, so that's very important. Expose yourself to public speaking a lot in conferences in your job. Volunteer to present, to talk. That's definitely super helpful to learn to be heard easier without changing your essence. Because I think that's important also, that we learn how to navigate without changing who we are, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, working on your confidence, your public speaking, it's very important. And I don't know, something that I said earlier, getting feedback also as well, because we tend to be very tough on us. And sometimes the feedback, it's something you don't expect. So having this perspective will help you a lot.
Yeah.
And make relationships or build bridges with your colleagues, with other departments. I think that applies to any lead, like to also manage these relationships will help you, to do a better work, to be happier, to feel more successful and fulfilled with your job. So yeah, I think I said 3 things already.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Great. And I think I've got one more here as well, Sena, potentially for yourself. So what learning resources can you recommend for someone to get into data science?
Yeah, personally, I really like Coursera and Data Camp for practical skills. Besides that, YouTube. YouTube is the best way of learning tech and data science. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting YouTube back there, but okay, yeah.
But YouTube, yeah, saved my life. Like,
Oh, fair enough. That's good. Perfect. And Susana, do you have any to add there? You gave the thumbs up for Coursera there as well, but
Coursera is my best friend for a while. So yeah, Coursera was a big resource for me as well. So yeah, I think there are other platforms today, but I think you mentioned already the top.
Also, like for statistic models, there's a channel in YouTube called StatQuest. He is explaining everything very good, and yeah.
amazing. Good. Okay, great advice. Thank you. So I have one here for both of you. Maybe a big question, I don't know, but what is the biggest challenge you've had to face in your career so far, and how were you able to overcome it?
You want to go first, Sena?
It's only been like less than a year that I'm in the industry.
What has been the biggest challenge so far?
Well, getting hired probably. And
You overcame that, so that's good.
Yeah, like finding a job. It was like I got rejected 99% of it. I only got one, and that's my job. So yeah.
And it worked out really well, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. For you, Susana?
I don't know. It's been different challenges, but yeah, maybe moving from my home country to a foreign country, that was very hard.
Yeah.
My first job abroad was very tough. Even though I moved from to a country where the same language was spoken, so I moved from Colombia to Spain, but yeah, the cultural shock was huge. So I had already a career, several years in Colombia, and I started fresh, new culture, new way of working. So from South America to Europe, it's totally different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would say that was the biggest challenge. And how did I overcome it? Well, by keeping an open mind. So it was tough, but I went through it. So I didn't go back to Colombia. So I just tried to learn to understand what are the differences in the way of working and the way of communicating, and find a middle point. And see the good things. So because there are things that are different, some things that I was like, okay, this is this is an improvement. So yeah, keeping an open mind and extracting the best out of it. And right now I'm happily working in Europe. So yeah, it's overcame that.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, that's obviously a big challenge moving from one country to another. All 3 of us have done it. I didn't move too far, Netherlands to England, so it's not that big of a change. But yeah, it comes with its challenges sometimes, doesn't it? So definitely. Then we have another question here. So, what are mentor faux pas, or what are you looking for in a mentor as a woman in tech? Can I throw it to maybe Susana first?
Yeah. Because I didn't quite understand the question.
Yeah, so what would you be looking for in a mentor as a woman in tech? So if you have a mentor now, or if you're looking for a mentor, what would you be looking for?
Good question. Well, Susana, if you have the answer, please go first. I still couldn't find any.
I was waiting. Yeah, but it's fine. I can't say anything as well. So Well, for me, it's been different depending. I think it depends on the stage of your career. What do you think you need the most, right? So if you feel like you need to work on your technical skills, then I will look for somebody very technical, right? Very hands-on.
Yeah.
If I'm looking right now to grow as a leader, how to be a better leader, then I will look for somebody who has experience in that, and or somebody I'm following, or I've seen how they speak, how they or how they lead, or how they are, or even at work. So I say it depends on what kind of topics you want to ask about, because if you're looking for a mentor, then you should have maybe an idea, or if you don't know what you need mentorship in, then also look for somebody maybe in a role similar to what you would like to have. Maybe it could be more generic. Doesn't need to be the same role you want to have, but somebody who you think might have had your path as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good one. Definitely, yeah. Okay, great. Then another question here. So as someone wanting to enter a developer role, what would be your advice for technical tests in the hiring process? How important is it to pass, solve it? That's a big question. Who would want to take that? Susana, do you?
Or how was it for you, Sana? Because you also did this process.
For me, I got lots of help from Data Camp, and also in LinkedIn as well. There are some skill assets as well, which are more or less similar that what I ask in the hiring process as well. So yeah, for me, it's just also just random examples from internet that I will just do it on myself helped a lot as well. And yeah, again, having I think just the practice makes it perfect, especially if you're gonna go to a developer role, which you need lots of coding skills. So just try to do examples from internet. Data camp I think is really, really good, especially if you have a specific role that you want to try. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And so just a little bit from me. So obviously from what I hear when someone goes for an interview where I know there's a technical test attached to it that's live, because sometimes obviously you have to live code or do whatever. But I've asked managers before, like, look, how important is it for someone to give you the exact right answer right there and then? And they say, look, that's not necessarily what they're looking for. They just want to see someone's process. And if they can also kind of listen to the feedback right there and then, or maybe if an extra question is added just to make sure you coach them into the right direction, kind of thing. So that's what I hear from managers. I don't know if that's the same. Suzanne, I don't know if you ever had technical tests during your hiring process.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I wanted to say that also, that at least in my roles, normally what we are interested in is to see how the person reacts to feedback, if they can really work with it, right? And so more than the exact answer, because the exact answer, so that's not what you need, right, to test at that moment. But if you can work with, so a lot of times we don't get the right answer at the first try.
Yeah.
But it's an iterative process. So yeah, how is your thought process? How do you split the problem? How do you start? So like, what's your process to solve it?
Yeah.
And how do you react to feedback? And also I want to say that in my experience as well, it depends. Also you have different levels of how strict you are depending on the seniority.
Yeah.
So for example, for a junior position, then you are looking for potential, then you don't care that much about the how good the code is. But if it's somebody more senior, then of course you have some more expectations, right?
Yeah.
So also the quality of what you write, it depends on the seniority of the role. But always I think that the common denominator is how's your process to approach a problem. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. Then I've got one more question here as well. Are there any certifications you would recommend, or any must-haves when it comes to practical skills? Sena, can I throw that one to you?
I mean, it depends on what you want to do and what kind of skills that you want to gain. So Coursera is a good one for getting a theoretical knowledge. But again, data camp
Yeah.
is good for practical part.
Okay.
Therefore, yeah, it depends on what you need and what kind of specialization you want to take.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And for yourself, Susana, any specific certifications that you would say it's just always good to have that? It just really depends on
Yeah, it
the
depends.
direction you're going in.
Yeah, actually, I mean, for me personally, the certifications, well, it's more important when somebody doesn't have a lot of experience, because then that's the guide. When somebody has experience, for me, the experience tells a bit more, and also but if it's an entry position, then the coding test that we were talking about, or the technical interview, is more important. Yeah, and must-haves, then something that also, at least in my experience, helps. It's when people have a repository where you can see what this person has worked on, and that it's consistently being worked on. How is your coding style? What kind of projects you've worked on? So if you have a personal repository in any platform where you can show that, that's helpful. It's not mandatory, but it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, again, depends on the company that you're applying, but Azure or AWS could be helpful as well.
Yeah.
Many companies work with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. So I think that was all the questions in the Q&A. If there's any more there, obviously we'll make sure that they do get answered, and it'll be sent out to everyone there. So I will kind of close off now. Thanks so much, both of you, for joining. Is there any sort of last words that you want to share or give to anyone? Don't have to. We've discussed a lot.
Yeah. Well, from my side, I found that women communities are a really great tool for getting support. I think that we tend to be very shy, and yeah, or any kind of community. I think that people who are in a community are there for a reason, and they are open. So don't be afraid to join and share and ask. Normally, you will get an answer. The worst that can happen is that you don't get one, but don't be afraid to ask for advice. Don't hesitate. I'm a big fan of these kind of initiatives, and so I know a lot of people are, and that's been super helpful for me in my career.
Yeah, perfect, great. And Sena, for yourself?
Yeah, same. Like, seek for solidarity, and there's always some people who are facing the same difficulties as you, and is also willing to give you solidarity as well. So search for it and seek for it, and know that you're not alone in this field as well.
Yeah, that's a big one, I think. Yeah, and definitely ask questions, right? When you've got a question, don't keep wondering, just ask those around you. Perfect. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today. That was really insightful. So details on how to sign up to the next event can be found, I think, in the chat box. Henry, my colleague, will pop it in there. Otherwise, obviously, they are in the community. So if you're signed up to that, you will get a notification from that. Everyone will also receive a request for feedback following the session. So please give us that. It's for us to obviously improve the content, or maybe something that you're wondering about or you would want the content to be about. Let us know. And it will help us deliver better and grow the community, of course, as well. So looking forward to see everyone on the next event. And yeah, any extra questions, come and find us on LinkedIn. All three of us are there. So, connect with us. Anyone asking for recruitment questions, come to me, but anyone obviously within the data community, you can go both to Susana and Sena as well. But thanks very much, and hopefully see you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.